I met this woman on a comedy Discord server. I flew out to go meet her.
How long had you been talking with this woman before you two met?
About a year. First 2 days went outstanding. We were talking about getting married, but on the third day, I had been drinking with her the night prior, and I realized I had pissed myself. I found her awake in her guest room, furious at me. Hello.
Hi, what's your name?
My name's John.
What's up, John? How's life?
I'm living the dream. How are you doing, Geck?
Ooh, what's the dream?
Oh, I'm studying geology right now. I used to be in the U.S. Army, and I get paid to look at rocks.
Has that always been your dream, to look at rocks?
No. Not really. Just a preface, and I don't want to be rude. I was Esoteric Bush in the chat, which you might have noticed. I have seen many of your edited podcasts, but this was the first live stream that I called into, and I wanted to talk to you.
For those who are currently listening to the edited podcast, to give some context, and I don't actually remember why, but I yelled at you in the chat. You chatted something, and I yelled at you for what you chatted. I forget what you chatted.
I said something to the effect of, you sound like you're saying something that you're actually saying about yourself.
Oh. I don't know why I was lying to you. I don't know why I yelled at you, but we can move past that.
Yeah, I apologize, and I meant no offense. This was my first live stream. I wanted to talk to you about a couple of things, mainly substance abuse, and I wanted to tell a story.
Okay. Do you want to tell the story first, or is the substance abuse related to the story?
I think the substance abuse is preliminary to the story.
Okay, let's hear it.
Growing up, my mother was a hoarder, and she was very neglectful of me. My father was around, but he worked 12-hour shifts. He was never around. And starting around the age of 12 or 13, she started giving me hydrocodone, unprompted. She would just put a pill in my hand and tell me to take it. And that went on for a few months. And after a while, I became physically addicted to it. And she would entice me to do chores around the house by saying, if you do this, I'll give you a hydro. This worked the way up to OxyContin. She started giving me oxys around the age of 16. I remember I would dig through her bag, and she had 3 bags that she constantly carried with her. She had 2 purses and her medicine bag. She had a bag full of medicine. And she entrusted me with the medicine bag because she had never caught me going through it. She had caught my father going through it because she would do the same thing to my father. And let me know if I'm going on too long.
No, you go ahead. Just say whatever you want.
So I became heavily addicted to opiates at a mid-teenager age. I started stealing them from her and dealing them at my high school. That's the thing I'm actually least proud about. I only did that twice. And eventually one day I OD'd. I didn't die. It was a mild OD. And I remember thinking that I was about to die. And I was cool with it. Like, I wasn't even worried. I was like, yeah, I'm about to die. That's fine. And then I woke up. That's when I swore off opiates. I didn't let her give me any more opiates after that. I refused them. I had seizures. After that, I started smoking copious amounts of weed. At the age of 18, it was about 3 months after I turned 18, I moved in with my older half-brother. He was 19 years old when I was born. My mother was 41 when she had me. I moved in with him. He was also abusive, albeit less so, and in a different way. He was more so physically abusive, and I was the only other really male in that household that posed any threat to him, and he would antagonize me. Fortunately, I was bigger than him, so it was more so just depressing and stressful. I moved back to my hometown in Louisiana at the age of 19. Stayed there for 6 months. Joined the Army. I was in the Army for 4 years. And I became an alcoholic there. I became an alcoholic because that's just what you do in the Army. I remember I had a military ball where I was on flag duty, flag guard, color guard, excuse me, it was color guard. And I was holding the American colors. And I was so drunk on returning the colors that I stabbed the spade of the American colors into the ceiling above, and we had drywall rain down upon us, and everybody just laughed because they thought it was just a mistake, but it was actually because I was drunk. Ever since then, I've struggled with alcoholism. There's a time where I was prescribed opiates when I was in the Army. I took some, and I remembered the way that I felt, and I flushed the rest down the toilet, which I know is not good practice. But it was just immediate. It was an immediate reaction. Continuing onwards, I am studying college right now. This is my last semester. And I mean, I guess the main impetus for the story is, I had been single for 4 years at the age of 26. I had a girlfriend, a long-term girlfriend in the Army. Actually, I had a fiance in the Army that I'd been with for a year and a half. We broke up because her family didn't like me, and I was an alcoholic. I had a long-term girlfriend, 2-year-long girlfriend, whom we broke up with, less because of my alcoholism and more because we moved apart. I was actually in a good place at that time. I went to college, and for some reason I started freaking to an extreme amount, because my very second semester was when COVID began. I started college in the fall semester of 2019. And then COVID began in March of 2020, so on and so forth. I've been single up until that time. I met a woman that had been 10 years older than me on Discord, on a comedy server that I was absolutely smitten with. And this had nothing to do with
what kind of comedy server?
Comedy podcast server.
Okay.
I don't want to be too specific.
That's all right. All right, so you met this woman on this comedy podcast.
And this is all leading up to, like, basically the most embarrassing moment in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I met this woman on a comedy Discord server, podcast Discord server, and I flew out to California to go meet her, and the first 2 days went outstanding. We were talking about getting married, and this was way too soon, but it was.
How long had you been talking with this woman before you two met?
About a year.
Okay.
It was stupid. No, I admit it was very, very stupid, and it was foolish on my part. But here's the kicker. On the third day, when I was supposed to wake up early to take an Uber to the airport, I woke up and there was sun beaming in through the the blinds, and I immediately knew I fucked up, and it was too late. I checked my phone. It was 5:30. 5:30 was the exact minute my flight took off. And then I noticed something. I had been drinking Bud Light with her the night prior, and I was wet, and I realized I had pissed myself. I pissed myself, and I found her awake in her guest room. She was furious at me. And I spent the rest of the day trying to make amends. I cleaned everything up. I tried to make her dinner. I tried to do everything I could. And she told me, after I had basically fixed everything, and she said that she was okay with me. And I kind of buried the lead. The night prior, I made a she like trauma dumped on me, and then I trauma dumped on her, and I cried in front of her, and she told me that she could never be with me because I cried in front of her. So simultaneously, I'm asking, like, how do I deal with substance abuse, and how do I handle, like, a statement like that? Like, I don't know what to think about it, and I don't know how much. I know I have a large amount of guilt because I fucked a lot of things up, but her main point wasn't that I got too drunk. It was that I cried in front of her.
I'm
sorry, I know that's a lot.
Hey, man. You're all good. You're all good. All right. Was this the first time you'd gotten drunk in a long time?
At that time?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had been sober for a while. I remember she picked me up from the airport, and our very first thing that we did was we went to a Trader Joe's because I said that I wanted to cook for her. I wanted to make her jambalaya. And she knew I had been sober for a while, and I immediately saw while I was there that she bought like whiskey and like margarita cut water, and I was nervous about it. And we got there, and she said like you're on vacation, let loose. And I'm not blaming her, because ultimately it was my own inability to remain sober. But I just thought I'm going to have a good time. And then I didn't realize how much of my tolerance I had lost. And I was an idiot.
How long ago was this?
This was in May of last year.
May of last year. Okay, so about May 2022?
2023.
2023. Oh, okay. And you're 27, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you said, how do I deal with that statement? Right?
Yeah, that, and it's a two-part combination, because I know I told you my little backstory. In combination, I don't know how to handle moving on past that statement, and I don't know how to handle a life remaining sober again, because
So let's tackle this one thing at a time, because the substance abuse thing is a whole other issue that I certainly do not have a full answer for, but I'm down to talk it through. But I'm down to talk about it. I'm down to talk about it with you. But let's start with let's start with the first one. And you said, how do I deal with that statement? So, I mean, I have a ton of thoughts about that statement. But first, I want to understand your interpretation. I want to understand how that made you feel. And this is, many months ago, and it still stings, and you're still embarrassed by it, and you still feel it. And I just want to, and before I give you my thoughts, I want to know why, and I want to know what your reactions to that statement are about her saying that she couldn't love you because you cried.
I would say at first it made me feel worthless. Like, it made me feel like I could never. It was always a fear of mine.
Yeah.
Like my ex-fiance, I had a long-term girlfriend. I cried in front of both of them, and they never brought it up. but I was always scared that they viewed me lesser because of it. And I'm not some stalwart bastion of masculinity. Like, I know when to hold down the fort, for lack of a better term. But like, I to me, that's part of a relationship, is that you can be emotional with one another. And I was always scared that you couldn't be, because you were viewed as being non-masculine. But no, so that was always a fear of mine. It was just a lingering fear. And no woman had ever mentioned that to me. And then suddenly, I know it sounds weird, but this woman was much older than me, and she was very attractive. And she was like she wasn't famous herself, but she was friends with like celebrities. I know that sounds stupid, but she was like prestigious, and she had taken a liking to me. And I had such a high regard for her that when I heard her say that, it just totally demolished my self-worth. Almost a year from now, I realized that, no, she's not a good person, because I've seen other instances of her behavior harming others, but it's still lingering, you know?
Hey folks, this is Lyle. I am very excited to announce that I am going back on tour in 2024 to do Therapy Gecko live all across the country. If you've never been to one of my live shows before, they are extremely fun, unpredictable, wild evenings that involve a mix of group gecko therapy sessions as well as some material and presentations from myself. And if you've been to the show before, I have new presentations and will, of course, be interviewing new people. If you're a fan of the podcast, you're going to have a great time at the live show, so I hope to see you guys there. Go to therapygeckotour.com or check the link in the episode description for a full list of cities where tickets are available. Also, if you don't see your city on the list of cities, please still click the link and RSVP with your phone number so I can contact you when tickets go on sale for your city, because I'm going to announce a bunch more dates very soon. Geck bless. John, I have so much that I want to say, and I'm trying to find the right way to properly express it to you. First and foremost, in a relationship, like especially somebody who is like, hey, let's fucking get married.
Yeah.
You know, if somebody loves you, you know, that sharing of your emotions purely and openly is necessary. You know, this idea that you're in a relationship with somebody that you love and you trust and they're your person and you can't cry in front of them, that's wild. That's wild. And I don't know what's up with this woman. I don't know why she said that to you. And I think it's mean. It's really mean to goad somebody into an emotional exchange and then look down upon them for opening up. And I think in a relationship, you try as hard as you can to be open and vulnerable emotionally. And the idea that you would try to hide that from somebody who claims they love you is wild, man. And so I know that this is not going to be a Band-Aid, but if you're asking me, I just want you to rewire your brain to unlearn whatever low self-esteem this woman has given you, because it's not from a real place. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think that
you shouldn't ever feel like you can't cry or like you can't. Life is so fucking short, John. You shouldn't ever feel like you can't express yourself, like you can't express your emotions to somebody that you love and trust. And if you feel like you can't, then that person doesn't love you. You know?
Right. I don't know.
And John, please, dear, please, if you can get anything out of this phone call, like, dude, please don't. I don't know if this is how you're thinking, but please don't let this be a knock to your self-esteem. Please don't run around thinking, "Oh, I'm not a man because I cried," or "Oh, I fucked that up," you know. Or
right,
or don't, like, just don't. I don't know if that's how you're feeling, but just like, and I don't know if I can get you to not feel that way by saying this, but like, don't feel that way.
I understand where you're coming from, and I agree with you, but there's like a difference between like knowing something and realizing something.
What do you mean by that? What does that mean?
Like, I know in my heart of hearts that I'm not lesser because of that, but like, I don't realize that. Like, I still feel lesser than, and it's hard getting. That's been the hardest thing in my life. Like, I've mentioned it. Like, I know alcohol is bad for me. I know I should quit drinking. But getting to that point where, like, I'm capable of realizing that, it's just so difficult because I can make excuses.
Do me a favor for a second. If we take the alcohol out of it and we just focus on like the self-esteem part, why do you feel lesser than?
Because I had invested so much in her. And this sounds stupid. She was one of the only organic relationships that I had. And what I mean by that is that even though we had met online, it wasn't through a dating app. Practically every woman I've been with has been through a dating app. This was just a woman who liked me.
Okay, but so let me ask you this. And, you know, there's no shame in this answer, whatever it is, if you want to share it. But why do you feel like you invested so heavily in this woman? What was driving that investment? What did you feel like she was gonna help you with or fill in your life that caused you to invest so heavily?
I thought that because she was older than me, I would somehow feel compelled to get my shit together. And this sounds stupid, but I knew that she had wanted kids, and she was 36. I was 26, and I thought, well, if I'm going to be with this woman, I have to get my shit together now. And I was thinking that, well, if I invest myself in this woman, I could have, like, some reason to live, like, very soon. Which I know sounds silly.
So, John, I want to stop you real quick, because you keep saying, this sounds stupid, this sounds silly. And when you say that stuff, it like, a lot of a major theme, I'm playing armchair therapist, a major theme I'm picking up in our conversation is this, like, shame over vulnerability, right? Like you like, especially, like, you know, you shared yourself to this woman and she called you out for crying, and that causes, like, oh, I feel ashamed of feeling this way, and so you like preamble your statements by, I know this sounds silly, I know this sounds stupid, because you're like, and I just want to tell you, and I just want to tell you, you don't have to feel ashamed of your feelings. This is just your truth, man. You know what I mean? This is your truth. It is what it is. You can be open about it. You can share it without having to hate yourself for having felt the way that you felt. Like, you don't have to hate yourself. You don't have to think you suck because you felt this way. You know, so you don't have to keep saying, this sounds silly, this sounds stupid, I know it's ridiculous. It's just the truth, man. It's just how you felt. And you don't have to beat yourself up about it. So I hope like, you understand that.
No, like, when I was a kid, like, when I've gotten better about doing this individually, like, I would always say that I'm sorry. Like, I would say I'm sorry for, like, somebody would say, oh, like, I missed lunch, and I would say, I'm sorry. Or, like, somebody would say, like, oh, you misunderstood me, I'm sorry. So I think I've stopped doing that, and I think that's been the natural evolution of that. Where it's just like I preclude all of my statements by saying, like, yeah, I don't know. Like, I just don't feel like my feelings are legitimate, and that I should be more intellectual. I think I don't want to sound autistic as shit, but it's just like I try to function entirely, like, intellectually, and I just forget that, like, I have feelings. And, like, when I have feelings that counteract what I know, I preamble. So okay, so just to go back to, like, you felt an investment in this woman because you felt like it would compel you to get your shit together. Yeah.
Listen, man. Here's the thing. I'm no addiction specialist. I'm a dude in a gecko costume. I don't know anything about any of this shit, about the psychology of it. I don't. But I have a pretty solid gander of the idea. And by the way, I'm no master at understanding this concept. I'm really not. But I know it's there, and I know it's proven itself to be there time and time again in my own life, and I'm sure everyone knows what I'm talking about. But you're never going to be compelled to get your shit. Relying on other people,
right,
to get your shit together is not going to work, even if they're great. You know, I mean, other people can be helpful, but at the end of the day, you're responsible for, like, solving your own problems, and so all this stuff, and I think all this stuff is good because it puts the agency back in your hands, and I hope you understand that, and I hope you feel empowered by that, because the agency's back in your hands, right? Nothing that this woman has said or done to you can stop you from getting your own life together. You know?
Right. You're right.
And you should feel really good about having that agency in your hands. You should feel happy about that, and you should feel optimistic about that.
Yeah.
Do you?
No. I don't know.
Let me ask you this, and well, how often are you drinking these days? And by the way, I don't know shit about alcoholism and all this stuff, but I'm down to talk it through with you a little bit. How often are you drinking?
Every other day.
You ever been to AA?
No.
You never been to AA?
No.
You should go to AA. I've been to OA before. I've been to a few A's, and they're good stuff. You should give it a try.
Yeah, I've just always been kind of weary about the culty.
No. I'm not fucking religious. No, it's not particularly. It's not like religious or anything. It's really just a room full of people who have the same problem as you, which is incredibly helpful.
No, man. No, I'm sorry. I know I've dragged on my call for way too long.
John, you're all good. If I wanted to hang up on you, I would have, but I've been enjoying talking to you about this stuff.
Yeah, well, thank you. Before I go, can I tell a mildly inappropriate story from the Army?
Yeah. I guess before you do that, I don't know, man. I know I'm not a real therapist, and I know that one phone call is not going to change your life, but
yeah.
Dude, is there anything else in this situation that you wanted to talk through, or any other way? I can just as another human being on the earth, I can be helpful to you over the phone.
There's an additional aspect to this story that I don't feel comfortable talking about on a live stream.
All right.
I'll let you take that as you will. And that was in conjunction with that woman. She trauma dumped on me. I trauma dumped on her. I'll let you guess what I dumped on her, because I didn't mention it. I am mostly okay now, mainly because my mother is dead.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a lot of release of tension. Beyond that, I don't know.
John,
it's just.
Would you? And I'll just. Yeah. I don't want to keep bothering you. I really don't. I have a lot of. By the way, I want you to know. I tying back into the theme of one of the themes of this whole call is I appreciate you being open and honest and vulnerable about all this stuff, and I don't think you should stop doing that, and I don't think you should feel shamed for doing that. But I want to ask you this, and I won't bother you again about it, but would you consider seeing a specialist of some kind, or at least going to AA, or doing making some kind of. You saw a specialist?
I saw a specialist. I saw 4 while I was in the Army. The only guy that actually helped me out at all was a dude that he admitted to doing acid to me.
What?
And he was a therapist, and he was like, I've done acid. And I was like, I've done acid too. and we talked about it at length, and we just talked about being on acid for an entire first meeting, and then I trusted him entirely after that.
Was he helpful in helping you with the alcohol?
It was actually less extreme at that point, and I wasn't open about my alcoholism while I was in the Army, because being open about alcoholism in the Army, I had a clearance. I don't want to say what kind, but if I had even mentioned having a clearance and mentioning alcoholism, I would have lost my job. So I never talked about it.
Right.
So,
well, I'm rooting for you, man. Whatever you decide to do, I'm rooting for you.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Well, thanks, man. I know I probably took up a significant amount of your podcast time.
Nah, I don't give a fuck. What was anyone else going to talk about? Someone is you're. I would rather listen to you than someone telling me about pooping their pants for the 30th fucking time. So no apologies necessary. Did you wanted to tell a story real quick before we go?
Yeah, it's mildly inappropriate. You can just hang up on me if it's nothing gory or violent. It's funny and shameful. When I was in the Army, I was an officer's driver. I was 20 years old, and I was driving this captain around for 3 weeks straight. I was never out of his sight, and I eventually, after 2 weeks, being a nubile 20-year-old, my balls started to hurt really fucking bad from lack of use, and driving a Humvee, because I had barely any cushioning and I was sitting down all the time. Stop me if I'm going in a weird direction. This is just the funny anonymous story.
Now go ahead and finish.
So I decide that I had to jerk off. It wasn't a matter of pleasure. It was a biological necessity, because it hurt so fucking bad. So I lied to this captain. I told him I was going to go take a shit behind a sand dune. In reality, I walked out 200 meters, and I walked out behind the sand dune in the deserts of El Paso. I sat down and found this perfect shrine of sin, and I rubbed one out. I squeezed my hog, and as soon as I was done, the sound registered to me like a fucking lawnmower. And I pull up my trousers real quick, and I do a 360 and search at the sound to no avail. I can't find it. I give up, and I go back to my little cum throne, and I sit back down, I look up. There's a quadcopter up there with its camera pointed directly at me. So, somewhere in the government archives is a drone video of me jacking off in the middle of the desert.
John, I think you should write a memoir, man.
Well, thank you. I hope that story wasn't too inappropriate.
No, that story was perfect. Thank you for sharing that.
Okay, well, thank you for your time, Geck. This is my first time tuning into one of your streams. I hope you have a good rest of your day.
You too, man. I'm sorry I yelled at you in the chat earlier.
No, it's fine. I criticized you. It's okay.
Take care, John, and good luck.
All right. Have a good one.
You
Goodbye.
too. Bye-bye. Man, jerking off in the middle of the desert, huh? I've jerked off in the middle of a field before, but never a desert. Maybe I should try that. I hope that after that 45-minute phone call, that's not like the only thing that I picked up. You know? I would hope that I thought about... I would hope I got better takeaways from that phone call. I would hope we all got better takeaways from that phone call than I should jerk off in the desert. But you know what? If that's all you got, that's fine too.
Hello?
Hey, what's up?
Oh, hey. How's it going?
I'm gonna call you John. John!
Hey, it's me, John.
Would you wanna talk about today, dog?
Yeah, so I wrote, I've done, some drugs here and there in my life, and, I pretty much got past the heavy phase and all that stuff, and I'm, older now. But occasionally I, look online and get something different. And I don't know what came over me, but I decided to try steroids. And just on a whim. So they're like, it's a mild one. It's oral. And I started taking it 5 days ago. I don't work out. I eat junk food. I drink too much. Just to see what would happen. Is that weird? Like, I'm wondering, should I be concerned?
You started taking steroids just for no reason?
Kinda, yeah.
How's
I was
that
like,
been
will I get kind of ripped or whatever just by doing nothing and sitting around?
Did that work?
It's only been 5 days, and honestly, I can feel a difference for sure, but it's not super visible or anything.
Do you anticipate any side effects to doing this?
I mean, I've read about some. You can, your balls can get small. You can, have get angry or whatever. But I haven't noticed anything.
How long do you intend to do this for?
30 days.
Why did you pick 30 days?
I looked online. I guess some people do it for a while and then they stop. If you just do this all the time, it can be really fucked up. So I'm just going to give it a little shot.
Okay. Are you afraid of anything that might happen to your body as a result of this test?
I'm not too afraid. I was just kind of wondering if you or a chat knew of anything else, because I'm not too scared, but shit, it's kind of weird.
You're asking me, a gecko on the internet, if I know about any negative health effects that might come as a result of you taking steroids for no fucking reason.
Yeah, and fair enough. I'm not shooting. That's I draw a hard line there. But
okay, what are you doing?
Mild oral steroids.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, if you asked me my professional opinion, I would say that's probably not a good idea.
Yeah.
To do that.
Yeah, right. Right.
I mean, yeah. Though this is this might be one of the stupidest things I've ever heard.
Oh, fuck! I just spit out my drink. That's pretty funny.
Yeah. This might be one of the stupid, and you know me, I've heard a lot of stupid things, and this is up there. This is one of the stupidest things I've ever heard. Why are you doing this? It said you texted me. No, hold on. Don't even ask me that. You texted me. You said, I started taking steroids because I thought it would be funny.
I mean, I just what happens if you do nothing? You just keep being kind of a piece of shit and eating whatever. And would it make an effect? Would it have a difference? I don't know. Let's find out.
This is so dumb. Okay, this is the dumbest thing I've heard. So you're just trying to you're trying to get in shape. You're trying to change your body, trying to lose weight and get in shape.
Just to see if it would make an effect, I guess. Yeah.
Okay, well, it's gonna make an effect. It's gonna make your dick smaller. It's gonna make you irritable. It's gonna be bad. Why don't you fucking just eat some lettuce and go to the gym instead of taking steroids for no reason?
That's probably a much better idea. Fair enough.
Don't do the 30 days. Are you gonna do the 30 days?
You got me second guessing it.
Okay, good. I'm glad that I've achieved the effect for you.
Yeah.
Oh God, what is that? Jesus Christ. You know what? Do it. I do it. Why not? See what happens. Be a human guinea pig.
Oh, you know what? All right. You got me there. Okay. Yeah. Maybe I will get. No. I'm just kidding.
Okay, good. Jesus Christ. What's your John? John. Oh man. Where do you even get these steroids from?
Oh, the chat knows where to get whatever you name it. You know where it's at.
Well, John. Okay. If this phone call has resulted in you not doing this, I'm happy. That we did it.
Excellent. Well, it very well may.
Is there anything else you want to say to the people of the computer before we go?
I love you, Lyle.
I love you too. And I don't say that very often because it feels weird. But I'll say it to you if it'll get you to stop doing the stupidest thing I've ever heard of anyone doing.
Fair enough. I'm glad that I've reached some kind of peak for you.
Take care, man.